my preference for these things is it doesn't happen publicly, because I think everything is better dealt with behind closed doors, but needs must. And in this situation, the club has spoken, and probably justifiably so in that moment. He's contracted to us. He's our player. My wish is that he would be playing on Monday night with us, but he won't be, and that's regrettable at this moment. But he, 100%, I want to see him back in a Newcastle shirt.
What do you think we learnt from hearing from Eddie Howe just now?
That he's not spoken to Isak. I mean, people.
Is that a surprise?
Yes and no. Yes for me, because you're in the same training ground. Yes, he's training in the afternoon, but Eddie Howe is probably there. But people say, hey, okay, how can that happen? Normally, the manager in the afternoons is then doing the behind-the-scenes work. He's obviously press, media, meetings, reviewing games, analysing games, speaking to scouts behind the scenes, preparing for next game. So he's busy. Isak comes in, maybe he's in a different area, doing his thing, changed, gone, whatever. So those things can happen, of course. But I just think that Eddie Howe's getting very frustrated with it. I think clearly Isak's very frustrated, because I think there's been a lot of talk about Isak and how can he do this? There's clearly, and based on his statement, there's clearly some promises that were made. And he said, the club's known my position for a long time. Now players can do that. And there's been lots of players that have said, listen, I want to leave. And clearly that might have been at the end of last season that he said this, and there's been promises. And those promises have been broken. And then he's frustrated and said, listen, well, I'm about loyalty. And if you said this and I believe I'm going to be sold, then why are you not doing that? So there's been a clear, miscommunication, breakdown. But I think Eddie Howe wants the matter closed as soon as possible.
Now, manager Arne Slot is happy with his squad, but admitted they'd be interested in bringing in a player who would improve them and wanted to join them. I wonder who that could be.
What I can tell you is not a lot. And if someone else is going to ask that question, it's going to be the same answer. Very, very happy about the squad we are having. So I've always said maybe having two per position is ideal, but I prefer less than more. But as always, if we think we can improve in a certain position and there's a player available that can really make us better, which you could see with Giovanni Leoni, it's then this club has always shown that they bring these players in, but only if everything is what we want. So the right transfer fee, the right player, the right position, and the player that wants to come to us.
A player that wants to come to us. Interesting, Mark. He's clearly not going to give too much away publicly. What's your reaction to what you heard from Arne Slot there?
No, I think I really like Arne Slot. I think the way he comes across in the media, the way he speaks, the way he fronts up and answers questions as well, respectfully. And he's prepared to have a little bit of a back and forth and a joke with our reporter Vinny O'Connor and those in the press room. I think shows the mark of the man and the type of person he is. He gets it. He understands what our job is about, and he understands that there are millions of Liverpool fans around the world that are desperate to know what's happening with Alexander Isak and whether or not there'll be a second bid. The first bid, 110 million plus add-ons, rejected by Newcastle. And their stance is quite clear on Alexander Isak. They don't want to sell a player who is crucial to their Premier League campaign and their Champions League season for less than what they feel is the value, and also without having a replacement in the building, signed up and ready to go.
So, Darragh, Eddie Howe has said he 100% wants to see Alexander Isak back in a Newcastle shirt. If you were to put a percentage on it, what is the likelihood of that happening?
It's the never-ending saga, isn't it? Look, Eddie has a class act. You see him there, he handles it. You can tell why he's a player's manager, why players love playing for him. What an England manager he would have been, by the way. But he's now in a position he didn't expect to be in after winning a cup and having a good season last year. So he needs this, one way or another to be resolved. And after this Liverpool game on Monday, I guess we're going to find out. If that deal's not agreed by Tuesday, Wednesday, it's done. And I think he's staying there. So I couldn't give you a percentage on it because things change in football. If you were putting bets on this, you could lose your house because you just don't know how it's going to go. I said yesterday, sell him, move on. go buy a couple of players and take the drama away from your dressing room.
Newcastle United have now effectively opened the door for Liverpool to return with a fresh bid for Alexander Isak, as the situation surrounding the striker has dramatically deteriorated. Isak has refused to train with the first team and has told the club he will not play for them again under any circumstances. His stance has escalated what was already a tense transfer saga, turning it into a full-blown standoff. The Swedish forward is reportedly furious over what he sees as broken promises regarding his future and believes the club is standing in the way of a major career opportunity. According to multiple reports, he has been training separately from the squad, and communication between him and Eddie Howe has completely broken down. He made his position public at a recent PFA event, where he said he could no longer see a way forward at Newcastle and had emotionally checked out of the club. The decision to remove himself from team activities has left Newcastle in a corner, knowing they may have no choice but to sell. This internal pressure is now pushing Newcastle to accelerate their efforts to find a replacement, with Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson emerging as the club's top target. Talks with Jackson are progressing positively, and while the deal has not yet been completed, Newcastle are confident they can bring him in before the end of the window. This development, combined with Isak's refusal to play, has softened the Magpies' previously rigid stance. Liverpool, who had an earlier bid of around £110 to £120 million rejected, are now expected to return with a higher offer, potentially in the region of £130 to £135 million. Under new head coach Arne Slot, Liverpool are eager to bring in a dynamic, versatile forward who can suit the Dutchman's fluid, possession-based system. Isak is viewed as an ideal fit for this next era at Anfield, and Slot has been monitoring the player's situation closely. With Newcastle's internal turmoil worsening and the club finally moving to secure a replacement, the path is now clearer for Liverpool to come back to the table. Manager Eddie Howe admitted in a recent press conference that the saga has placed the club in a lose-lose position, noting that even if Isak stayed, it would be difficult to reintegrate him into the squad given how far things have gone. Newcastle's hope was originally to keep Isak as a core part of their project, but the player's disillusionment, refusal to play, and growing public pressure have now forced the club to rethink. If Jackson's deal goes through, Newcastle are expected to greenlight Isak's departure, and Liverpool are standing by, ready to strike. Liverpool are now on the brink of finalising a deal to sign Crystal Palace's captain and England international defender, Mark Guéhi. The two clubs have entered into advanced negotiations, with Liverpool keen to bolster their defensive options ahead of the new season. Guéhi, who has impressed consistently with Palace, is valued at around £40 million by the Eagles. However, given that he is entering the final year of his contract and has not committed to a renewal, Liverpool are attempting to negotiate a lower fee. Discussions have reportedly been productive, and both clubs are understood to be moving closer to an agreement that could be finalized very soon. On the player's side, Guéhi is said to have already agreed to personal terms with Liverpool, with a contract reportedly extending until 2030, signaling his readiness to make the move and be part of Arne Slot's rebuilding project. Liverpool see Guéhi as a key piece in reinforcing their defensive line, particularly as they face challenges with some of their established defenders. Virgil van Dijk's advancing age and Konate's ongoing injury issues have left gaps that require immediate attention, and Guéhi's blend of youth, pace, and composure on the ball fits the profile of a modern Premier League centre-back that the club desperately needs. From Crystal Palace's perspective, the club is aware that holding on to Guéhi against his will risks losing him on a free transfer next summer. Chairman Steve Parish has publicly indicated a willingness to sell before the transfer window closes to ensure the club receives a fair return for their prized defender. However, the situation is complicated by the views of manager Oliver Glasner, who has expressed concerns over losing such a pivotal player ahead of Palace's European campaign, which demands squad depth and stability. Despite these complexities, the momentum appears to be firmly in Liverpool's favour. Both clubs understand the urgency, and all key components, agreement on the fee, player contract terms, and medical clearance, are reportedly in the final stages.